Before we get into this profound revelation, I need you to stop for a moment and reflect. How many times have you felt out of place in a place where everyone seemed to be in communion with God, except you? If this video reached you, it was not by chance. It was the Spirit Himself who guided your steps here. Click subscribe now, activate the notification bell, and share this message with someone who has also felt this inexplicable emptiness within the temples. What you are about to hear can heal a pain that you have never been able to name and reconnect you to your true essence. You are not alone. You have been called, and this is your confirmation. Have you ever walked into a church and, even though you were surrounded by voices, felt a deafening silence within you? Have you ever praised with your lips, but your spirit remained silent? Many of God's chosen ones have experienced exactly this, an invisible but overwhelming disconnection as they try to fit into religious structures that promise to be a home, but increasingly feel like a prison. And this discomfort is not rebellion, it is discernment. It is your spirit detecting that there is something wrong, something out of place, something that does not vibrate at the same frequency as the truth that pulses within you. The calling that is in your spiritual DNA finds no nourishment in repetitive ritual, in programmed performance, or in the noise that tries to fill a void that only the sacred can touch. It is not that you are moving away from God, it is that God is calling you to more. And you feel it, even if you cannot yet explain it. This void, it is the space that He has reserved for a true, unmanipulated, unmediated, but direct encounter between Creator and creature. One of the most painful reasons that has led the chosen to leave the institutional church is the transformation of faith into a product. Where there used to be an altar, there is now a stage. Where there used to be intercessors, there are influencers. Where people sought the Spirit, they now seek an audience. The temple has become a business, tithing has become a requirement, and the pulpit has become a showcase for spiritual vanities disguised as anointing. And you, who feel God in the winds and in the silences, begin to realize that something is very wrong. God's presence is not for sale. The divine voice is not conditioned on a monthly contribution. The chosen are waking up to this reality, and instead of being fed, they are being exploited. But there is something bigger happening. This separation is not a loss, it is protection. It is as if the Spirit is saying, "Come out. I want to meet you outside the system. I want to speak to you in the desert." And it is in this spiritual exile that you begin to hear clearly what the crowd was muffling. Your soul is not empty, it is being cleansed. Leaving the traditional church does not mean abandoning faith. For the chosen ones, it is often the beginning of true spirituality. When the soul awakens to the falsehood disguised as holiness, a deep journey within begins. It is in this retreat that the true temple is revealed, and it has always been within you. Far from the numbered pews and Sunday programs, you begin to hear the voice of God in the details, in the tears, in the whispers of the early morning. Prayer ceases to be an obligation and becomes breathing. Communion no longer depends on scheduled meetings, but on divine connections with people who vibrate on the same frequency. The word no longer needs to be shouted from a pulpit. It begins to be whispered directly to your spirit. And then you understand. You were not running away from faith, you were running away from lies. The path to truth, for the awakened, rarely goes through the great avenues. It begins with narrow paths, with the pain of separation, with the courage to be alone, until you realize that you never were. The chosen ones who leave the institutional church are often called backsliders, rebels, heretics. But what few realize is that oftentimes these are exactly the vessels God chooses to carry His fire outside the walls. While the religious world rejects them, heaven raises them up. They are like John the Baptist, voices crying out in the wilderness, preparing the way for a new manifestation of glory. They are like Elijah, hidden in caves, being fed by ravens until the day they must arise. The system tries to extinguish their light with guilt and judgment, but the flame they carry is not theirs, it is God's, and it burns even in silence. You who have been rejected for not conforming, for asking questions, for seeing beyond, are not lost. You are being positioned. The temple God is building now has no walls. It is made of awakened people, of souls that shine even in the dark night, and you are one of them. There is a silent suffering among the pews of churches, muffled voices, silent hearts, souls suffocated by dogmas that no longer answer the deep questions of the Spirit. How many times have you tried to speak about what you felt and been silenced? How many times have you expressed doubt and been called weak in faith? The chosen ones can no longer bear to be molded by systems that deny mystery, that disregard feeling, that treat spirituality as a manual of cold rules. Your soul cries out for freedom, for authenticity, for a God who does not fit into human boxes. You are tired of pretending that everything is fine while something inside you dies at every meeting that ignores the sacred that dwells in silence. This discomfort is a gift. This restlessness is a summons. You are not losing your faith. You are reclaiming your voice. And this voice will be used to awaken others who are also trapped in doctrinal prisons, waiting for a sign that it is possible to live faith outside the cage. The chosen ones are being called out of structures because the new move of God is happening in the invisible, in the individual, in the intimate. The call now is to the mountains, to the early mornings, to the streets, to the secret. God is not limited to the altar. He is invading bedrooms, work hallways, daily paths. He is revealing himself to those who do not seek performance, but presence. To those who do not want an audience, but depth. You feel this call because your soul recognizes the new that is being born. And no matter how afraid you are, no matter how alone you feel, know this: there is a silent army rising up. People like you, marked, separated, called to live a faith without makeup, without manipulation, without spectacle. God is calling you out, not to distance you from him, but to bring you closer as never before. Because there are encounters that only happen in the desert, and there are revelations that are only given to those who dare to leave the crowd. Many of those who have left the church carry deep wounds, spiritual abuse, cruel judgments, unfair exclusions. These scars are not marks of defeat. They are signs that you have survived religion without losing your hunger for God. And that is a miracle. The wound of the chosen is different. It does not heal with time, but becomes a portal for greater healing. That which hurt you now makes you sensitive to the pain of others. That which silenced you now gives you the authority to speak. You carry a light that was born of pain, and this light is not meant to shine alone. It is meant to guide others along the same path of liberation. God uses the wounded to heal, the rejected to include, the persecuted to protect. Your story is the raw material for your mission. You were wounded inside the house to become a voice outside it. And that voice, even trembling, even crying, is already beginning to echo in hearts that are also trying to understand why they hurt so much, and will finally find the answer in you. You are not alone. There is an invisible multitude spread across every corner of the earth, living the same journey of awakening. They are people who, like you, have been cast out, discouraged, discredited, but who are now finding each other, guided by a frequency that only awakened spirits recognize. This is no longer the era of the megachurch, it is the era of the microheart pulsing with authenticity. Small groups are forming, homes are becoming altars, friendships are becoming bridges of healing. God is rebuilding communion, not in the old ways, but on invisible and indestructible foundations. The chosen ones are finding each other in the silence of sincere prayers, in words that do not judge, in eyes that recognize the sacred in each other. You were separated, yes, but to be reconnected to a community much deeper than any human structure could build. The church of stone may have excluded you, but the living church, made of souls on fire, is now welcoming you. God is breaking the old molds, the old forms, the rigid models. The inherited systems are being shaken because they no longer contain the new wine. You feel it. You can no longer attend services as before. You no longer feel nourished by repetitive messages. You can no longer stand speeches that exalt man and hide the spirit. It is not rebellion, it is spiritual sensitivity. The Holy Spirit is blowing outside the walls, calling the bold, the restless, the nonconformists to a new kind of communion. He is raising altars in unlikely places, in kitchens, in cars, in silent hearts. He is awakening prophets without pulpits, worshippers without microphones, intercessors without audiences. You are part of this movement, and your strangeness in the face of the old system is not rejection, it is a summons. You are being called to be the answer, to be a house where there is no temple, to be a presence where there is no pastor, to be a voice where there is silence. The new of God is being born in you. The price of leaving the structure can be high. The judgment of those who remain, the loneliness of the early mornings, the doubt that sometimes hits hard. You feel as if you are betraying something sacred, as if you are losing the ground that has sustained your faith for so long. But it is on this shaky ground that God plants the deepest seeds. You are not rejecting God, you are rejecting the distortion that has been made of him. You are not abandoning the faith, you are returning to its origin. And yes, many will not understand. They will call you a deviant, an ungrateful person, a heretic. But you know deep down that something purer is being born, a faith. That is cleaner, more intimate, more connected to the real divine, not to the institutional. This lack of understanding is part of the cross of the awakened. Jesus was also rejected by the religious. Paul was persecuted by those who followed the law. The prophets were killed by the same people who claimed to worship God. You are in good company. Heaven recognizes your pain and honors your path. What is awakening in you is greater than a break with an institution. It is a reunion with Christ. Consciousness. Jesus did not come to found temples. He came to awaken consciences. He did not call followers to form a religion, but disciples to carry light. And that is what you are feeling, a call to live like Christ and not just worship him with empty words. Christ consciousness invites you to love without interest, to forgive without conditions, to see God in everything and everyone. This consciousness does not fit into ready-made sermons. It is not limited to Sundays. It transforms you. From the inside out, every day, you are becoming one with the light, one with the divine will, one with the purpose for which your soul incarnated. This consciousness separates you from the system, but connects you to heaven. It takes you out of the temple, but places you on the throne with Christ. Because being chosen is not about belonging to a group. It is about carrying within you the essence of the divine in movement. The new faith that is born within you is direct, without intermediaries, without filters. It is you and God, eyes to eye, heart to heart. You no longer need someone to tell you how to pray, how to believe, how to feel. The veil has been torn, and now you walk in the Holy of Holies every day. Your prayer does not need a spectacle. Your faith does not need approval. Your surrender does not need a spotlight. You are a living temple, spirit in flesh, a walking sanctuary. The presence goes with you. The fire burns within you. The word echoes through you. And this is freedom. A freedom that frightens those who still live imprisoned, but a freedom that heals, transforms, and frees others as well. You have been called to live this pure, uncomplicated, essential faith. Because the time has come when true worshippers will not be in temples or on mountains, but everywhere, worshipping in spirit and in truth. And you are one of them. Do you see? Your life is no longer just about you. Every step you take in silence, every tear you shed in solitude, every choice you make toward the light, all of these open spiritual pathways for many who will come after. You are not just a child. You are a portal, a link between worlds, a channel through which light moves to touch those who are still imprisoned in darkness. And that is why the burden has been so great. That is why the spiritual warfare has been so intense. It is not just about your soul. It is about all the others who will be freed through your awakening. The enemy knows who you are. He knows your spiritual lineage, even if you are only just beginning to remember. And he fears you, not for your human strength, but for the light you carry, for the authority that emanates from your direct connection to the eternal. When you enter a room, the atmosphere changes. When you pray, even in silence, the sky moves. You no longer live just for yourself. You live for all who need a sign to wake up. The chosen ones are not understood, and this is a deep pain. You try to explain yourself. You try to share your new vision. You try to show what you are feeling, but the world around you looks at you as if you have gone mad. It is the loneliness of the prophets, of the mystics, of the awakened. Jesus knew it. Elijah fled to the desert because of it. Jeremiah wept because he was not understood. And now you feel the same weight, but this loneliness is sacred. It is the womb where your true identity is being formed. It is the silence that precedes the thunder of revelation. It is the darkness before the breaking of light. When everything seems disconnected, it is because the new connections are still being aligned behind the scenes in heaven. Don't give up now. Don't back down. You are closer than ever to becoming all that you were called to be. Your pain is a spiritual contraction, and what is about to be born through you will not only be life-changing, it will be a new era for everyone around you. You've looked in so many places, preachers, books, courses, videos, prophetic words, but now God is calling you inside, to the inner temple. The voice you need to hear already lives within you. It's subtle, it's like a whisper, but it's real, it's firm, and it's becoming clearer every day that you silence the noise of the world. The Spirit doesn't shout, He invites. He manifests Himself in the heart that stops, that takes a deep breath, that listens with reverence. The great directions of your life won't come from outside, they will come from within, because it's inside you that God has planted the map, the instructions, the frequency that connects you to the throne. You are home, you are altar, you are the place where God speaks. And now, more than ever, He is speaking. Close your eyes, be silent, feel. Are you listening? It's the sound of heaven saying, you are not lost, you are coming home. Have you been experiencing physical changes, unexplained fatigue, sensitivity to sounds, lights, people, strange sensations in your chest, in your dreams, in your perception of time? This is not illness, this is expansion. This is your soul awakening and forcing your body to adjust to the new frequency. The chosen ones are not just undergoing a spiritual transformation, they are undergoing a transfiguration. The light that was once trapped within you is expanding, and your body is trying to keep up. That's why you feel this strangeness, as if you are between worlds, as if you are becoming someone you don't yet know how to be. This is awakening. This is rebirth. Be gentle with yourself. Take care of your body, but don't fear it. It is the vessel. The soul is the new wine, and both are preparing to carry a glory that is not of this world. You are changing because you are remembering who you really are, an eternal spark of God in human form. Have you noticed? Attacks increase when something great is about to happen. Doubts intensify. Fears return with a vengeance. People turn away. Unexplainable things begin to happen. But this is not a retreat. It is war. It is the last effort of the darkness to keep you from crossing the threshold of transformation. When the winds grow stronger, it is because you are nearing the summit. When the pressure becomes unbearable, it is because the anointing is being released. Hell trembles when a chosen one is about to take possession of his spiritual crown, and you are at that point, on the threshold, at the portal, at the moment when everything can change. Do not back down. Do not accept the lies that arise in your mind as your own. Do not be distracted by the noise. Keep your eyes fixed on the light that burns within you. The crown is already forged. The table is already set. And all of heaven is in expectation. You are the one for whom heaven is waiting to move. There are records that cannot be erased. Since before the foundation of the world, your name was written in a book that is not on this earth. It is the book of the called, the awakened, the sent. And your presence here, now, is proof that that calling has been activated. You may have forgotten, but heaven has not. And now every synchronicity, every message that comes to you, every dream, every unexplainable shiver, these are the seals being opened. The spiritual robes that were prepared for you are being unfolded. They have no fabric, but light. And on them is written your spiritual name, the one that only God knows and that will be revealed in due time. That is why you have never felt completely comfortable with the name they gave you here. Because your identity has always been greater than your earthly history, and now that identity is beginning to emerge. Do not fear the grandeur of what you are discovering. You were born for this, and you are going home in glory. You always knew you were different. Ever since you were a child, there was something about you, a sensitivity, a deep look, a strange way of perceiving the world. And with that came isolation, sidelong glances, a feeling of not belonging. But what seemed like a curse was actually a mark, a seal, a spiritual signature imprinted on your aura that said, "This is one of mine." That's why you never fit in. That's why environments tired you. That's why friendships didn't last long. Because your frequency was different. Because you were born with a purpose that separated you from the ordinary. And now, as you awaken, these marks become more visible to those who have eyes to see. There is a light within you that can no longer be hidden, and the spiritual world already recognizes you. Angels accompany you, beings of light surround you, and even when you feel alone, you are protected, chosen, sealed. Do you want to break away from everything that limits you? Do you want to access the next level of your mission once and for all? Then listen. The key is forgiveness, but not a superficial forgiveness, a deep, radical, almost scandalous forgiveness. Forgive those who hurt you when you trusted them the most. Forgive those who did not recognize you. Forgive those who mocked your awakening. Because as long as there is bitterness, there is no room for glory. The heart of the chosen one needs to be clean. And not because others deserve it, but because you need to be free. Heaven is ready to release everything. But you cannot pour new wine into old wineskins, and hurts are broken wineskins. Cleanse your soul, cry if you need to, write letters that will never be sent. Let go, release, because the moment has come, and everything that is blocked in your life will be unlocked the moment forgiveness is genuine. It is the last portal before ascension. There are things that are only revealed to those who choose to remain faithful, even without evidence. Those who continue even when everything seems to be at a standstill. Those who pray when heaven seems silent. Those who trust when they don't understand. These are the ones who activate the portals, and you are one of them. You continued, you resisted, you chose to remain when everything inside you screamed to give up. And now the portals begin to open, not portals of ordinary opportunities, but portals of divine knowledge, of heavenly wisdom, of spiritual downloads that will change everything in your life. The pieces begin to align, doors that were previously locked begin to open. and you will realize that you won't need to force anything, because the right portals open through spiritual recognition, not through carnal effort. Heaven recognizes those who have remained, and you will be rewarded with more than you asked for. You will be entrusted with revelations that only the faithful can carry. Have you ever felt left behind, like everyone else is moving forward, and you're standing still, forgotten, invisible? Listen, the last shall be first. It's a promise, it's a decree, it's a spiritual law. You're not left behind, you're preserved, because the rush of others has led them down shortcuts that have derailed their purpose. But you've been refined in the process. You've been left last because you were the only one capable of bearing the weight of the glory that is coming. And now, those who mocked, who doubted, who called you slow, will watch your rise. Not for revenge, but for testimony, so they can see what God does with those who remain faithful, so they can learn that those who walk in silence are not to be despised. Your time has come, and it will be visible, it will be public, it will be undeniable. There will be no hiding what is coming for you. Heaven is already putting you on the front lines. You are not alone. You never have been. There is an invisible covenant between you and heaven, a pact sealed with tears, with promises, with prayers said in secret. And this covenant is stronger than any attack that comes against you, stronger than curses, stronger than envy, stronger than words thrown at you. You have been enveloped by a spiritual covenant that protects you in times of war and propels you in times of peace. That is why, even when everything seemed to be falling apart, something kept you standing. That is why, even when everything said you could not do it, there was an invisible force pushing you forward. This is the strength of the covenant, and it is active now. It is this covenant that is activating the promises. It is this covenant that is breaking down the blockages. It is preparing the angels. It is moving heaven and earth so that what was written about you will be fulfilled in fullness, in glory, in perfect time. You are no longer who you were. Something has changed. Something has broken. You no longer think as you used to. You no longer feel as you used to. You no longer conform to what you once accepted. This is a sign that a new identity is emerging, a spiritual identity that has always been dormant but is now taking shape. You are being invested with authority. You are being transformed from the inside out. You are being spiritually repositioned to manifest who you have always been in heaven, but who is only now beginning to be revealed on earth. And this identity can no longer be hidden. It will be perceived. It will be felt. People will not be able to explain it, but they will know that there is something different about you, because the glory of God will be visible. Your voice will carry weight, your gaze will have impact, your touch will carry healing, your silence will carry authority. Because when a chosen one awakens to their heavenly identity, the world will never be the same again. Now that you've heard all this, the question is no longer, am I chosen? The question is, are you ready to answer the call? Because everything that has been revealed thus far has not been to inflate your ego. It has been to position you spiritually. You have been called, you have been set apart, you have been awakened, and now heaven awaits your response, not just in words but in actions. Start today. Make your declaration in the comments. I am one of the chosen. Share this video with others who need to awaken. Subscribe to the Chosen Signal. This is the spiritual space where the chosen are meeting. Ring the bell. Spread this message. Become a multiplier of this revelation. You have been called to do more than survive. You have been called to ignite this generation with the light you carry, and all of heaven is waiting for you.